And we're moving on now to Westward Run, which is the last of the main songs on the album. And this one struck me as the most, I thought, lyrically complex song on there because, and I'll say this because, you know, it talks, I assume it's talking about like kind of a relationship kind of a thing. And it's, you know, your plans are much too stable for this, taking a quote from it. But you can tell in the way that you sing it that there's still like emotional longing there, at least I thought. So I guess, you know, I thought that really enhanced the song's message. So why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
I don't want to spoil the song's meaning totally, because this is the one that like everyone has interpreted differently, and they give me a lot of different ideas about what it's about. It's actually about a friend of mine who I have been friends with for a long time, and who sort of went down a different path. Kind of a bad path. And so it's kind of about my separation from him and just kind of go in a different direction. And yeah, that one's probably the most personal of all the songs.
Yeah, I can tell.
And it started out, I had those chords and stuff written for like a year, and I was always looking for something to put with them. And then I finally wrote that like the opening sort of the arpeggios and stuff that start the song. And I'd been thinking about him. I was especially pissed off because of him. Like we had just had another kind of altercation. And so that song ended up coming out of it. And another interesting fact about that song was originally just acoustic. And we recorded a just acoustic version of it that didn't turn out so well. But then I decided the day before we recorded it for real that I wanted a sax solo in there. So that sax solo was written the day before it was recorded. And so I just came in and sight read it basically in front of a microphone. And yeah. And that song, it's like everyone's favorite well, not everyone's, but a lot of people's favorite is that song. And it's kind of weird because that took the least amount of effort out of all the songs. That song was recorded and mixed in a day.
Wow.
And, but I really like that song, and it's definitely one of my favorites too. Apart from Summer Twilights, that's probably the next single-worthy song.
Yeah, that's really interesting how all those parts just kind of began at separate points and then all came together so quickly and formed a really good song. But,
well, thank you.
Yes. Yes, I'm just giving you compliments all the way through.
I feel like I should be like, no, it's not that good. But I do want people to buy the CD.
Exactly. Yes, and we'll give you.
Talking to you.
Yes. Don't worry. There will be shameless plugs at the end. Don't worry.
Okay. I've been waiting for them.
Yes. And now we'll move on to the blah blah blah, the CD's bonus tracks.
Yes.
Starting out with Snowpants Built for Two.
Yes.
And it was mostly, well, I'll say mostly instrumental because I didn't notice until one of my most recent listens that there was a little thing right at the very end, just a little got it in there. But I thought it was very interesting. It reminded me of a more condensed version of Death Cab for Cutie's I Will Possess Your Heart because it just kind of built and built and built, starting with that bass line, which is very nice. And, you know, and it all came together. So I have to ask, what's behind the name?
That's my favorite name, by the way. It's everyone's favorite name of all the songs on the CD. God, I don't remember. It was like last winter. I was just hanging out with a friend, Zach Wardlaw, and we were talking about like really terrible song names, really funny ones. And just, I don't know, Snowpants Built for Two popped into my head, and we were gonna start a band to write that song, but it never happened. So eventually I had this song that I'd written and I didn't have a name for. And so I was like, well, hey, that's a good chance to use it. The song, interestingly enough, started out, it was written for 4 acoustic guitars. It was, I wanted to write a techno song that was on all acoustic guitars.
Alright, yeah, I can see the techno influence a little bit in that one.
Yeah, so all the parts were written for 4 acoustic guitars, and then I realized, like, I tried recording and I was like, this sounds terrible. But I still liked the song. So I expanded it, you know, and I still, you know, it was supposed to be a techno song, but without that bass drum beat, you couldn't really tell. So I expanded it for a whole band. Piano and bells obviously took the melody, and then I still had the guitars in there. And yeah, a lot of people don't realize it was written as a techno song, because I guess there's no electronic instruments or anything, but you know, it's got the kind of feel to it, and the you know, it's got a lot of different techniques that are used in techno, but because they're on different instruments, they're not as recognizable. But I really like that song. So
yeah.